President Trump declaring in a Fox Business interview this morning that he will not participate in a virtual debate with Democratic nominee Joe Biden. That just a few minutes after the debate commission announced the change amid coronavirus worries.
No, I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous. And then they cut you off whenever they want. I have a host who I always thought was a nice guy, but I see he's a never-Trumper. Came out that he's a never-Trumper.
We set the dates. I'm sticking with the dates. I'm showing up. I'll be there. And in fact, if he shows up, fine. If he doesn't, fine.
Federal and state authorities say they thwarted a months-long plot to kidnap the governor, arresting members described by U.S. Attorney Andrew Burge as violent extremists.
Earlier today, Attorney General Dana Nessel was joined by officials from the Department of Justice and the FBI to announce state and federal charges against 13 members of 2 militia groups who were preparing to kidnap and possibly kill me. I also want to thank Attorney General Nessel and the U.S. Attorneys Burge and Schneider and their teams for pursuing criminal charges that hopefully will lead to convictions, bringing these sick and depraved men to justice.
Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence facing off in their first and only vice presidential debate. Harris and Pence avoided personal attacks while being mostly cordial.
He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
Harris and Pence separated by plexiglass, sparred over the Trump administration's handling of the coronavirus.
They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax.
President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done, and that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision.
Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country.
Pence argued a Biden administration would be a disaster for the economy.
The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot.
Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family.
The coronavirus outbreak at the White House growing. An internal memo obtained by ABC News revealing at least 34 people have now tested positive, up from 24 Wednesday afternoon. And now another top military official is positive after attending a meeting with the Joint Chiefs. General Gary Thomas is second in command of the Marine Corps. All but one of the Joint Chiefs are now in isolation after Coast Guard Admiral Charles Ray tested positive. Trump's chief of staff reassuring the public that the Oval Office is taking precautions.
We've got safety protocols there that are not only from a PPE standpoint, but from a ventilation standpoint.
32 states and territories are now seeing a rise in COVID cases. Some areas of the country are now facing new closures and restrictions. A new forecast predicts New England, the New York City area, and Oregon could see the most concerning rates of infection in the next month.
We could have from 300,000 to 400,000 deaths. That would be just so tragic if that happens.
And now Wisconsin, opening a field hospital at the state fairgrounds after a record number of hospitalizations. The White House now facing unprecedented criticism from the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine over the administration's handling of the pandemic, writing in a scathing editorial that U.S. leaders have taken a crisis and turned it into a tragedy.
We're tracking Hurricane Delta during this record-breaking Atlantic hurricane season for 2020. This is going to be the 10th named storm to make landfall in the continental U.S. That is going to be the most on record we've ever seen in a hurricane season. So let's take a look at the satellite. You can see it's finally forming that eye. That means it is strengthening. We have hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings in effect from Texas across Louisiana and into the Mississippi area. Now, let me show you the track here because we're expecting landfall tomorrow. But take a look. You could see it could potentially re-strengthen back to that Category 3 major hurricane status sometime tonight into Friday morning. And then what we're hoping and forecasting is that it does weaken a bit prior to landfall to Category 2 with winds up to 105 miles per hour, making landfall Friday late afternoon into the evening hours near Cameron, Louisiana. And that track continues to make its way up through the Tennessee Valley, but it weakens very rapidly as we head into the weekend. So let me show you the timing here, and I want to pause it tomorrow evening because that's when we're expecting the major impacts from Hurricane Delta. 87 to 90 90-mile-per-hour gusts expected from Cameron, Louisiana, up through Lake Charles. You can see the heavy rain, the storm surge, the hurricane force winds. That's when we're going to be seeing the worst of it, and that's tomorrow afternoon, right through the evening hours. You're going to see it making its way up the state of Louisiana. Still 40 to 50-mile-per-hour winds as it's weakening, but still a lot of heavy rain and gusty winds for Louisiana up through Greenville, Mississippi, as we head into Saturday morning. Now, the storm surge is going to be a big impact, especially for places like Morgan City, Louisiana. 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. Mobile Bay could see 1 to 3 feet. Galveston Bay, 1 to 3 feet. And of course, Cameron, Louisiana, where we're seeing landfall, 4 to 7 foot storm surge possible. Now, the rain not as big of an issue because the storm is moving very quickly, but some spots, especially across Louisiana, could see up to a foot of rain, and even 1 to 3 inches of rain is possible through the mid-Atlantic through Sunday.